I'm going to start with a quick overview of the project so you know where we are headed. Then we'll walk through it step by step for an absolute beginner. Watch as I use the timeline. I'll move forward by clicking next step so you can see how the part evolves. The first thing we do is sketch the side profile. It's usually best to sketch the part in a view that lets you define the overall shape and key dimensions as efficiently as possible. Next, we extrude that sketch to create a solid body. A body is the three-dimensional solid that eventually becomes our finished part. After that, we create a new sketch directly on this face and draw two circles sized to accept our fasteners. It's a good idea to leave a little tolerance here. We will use the extrude tool again, but this time in cut mode. This is a feature you will want to get very comfortable with. To finish the main shape, we add fillets. These help remove sharp edges, reduce stress concentrations, and improve the look of the part. Finally, we sketch and extrude the triangular braces that give the part its strength. Now let's break this down into simple actions so you can follow along and learn exactly how to build this simple part in practice. The first thing we're going to do is save the file. Give it a clear descriptive name and store it somewhere you'll actually be able to find later. This sounds obvious, but it's a habit worth building early. Next, we'll create a new sketch on a vertical plane and start by drawing a centered rectangle from the origin. Starting on the origin helps anchor the part, and centering the part allows you to take advantage of symmetry later on. Once that's in place, we'll dimension the rectangle. We then create a second rectangle using a 4mm thickness and make the part 2 1/4 inches long. You'll notice I'm mixing units here. That's just because my rig uses a mix of metric and imperial dimensions. Fusion can handle both simultaneously, but will convert to the unit specified in the document settings. Millimeters are the recommended unit for 3D printing. From there, we add a 3/4 inch extension at 45 degrees. This small lip helps prevent items from sliding off the front of the bracket, so things like a VR headset or headphones can sit securely without falling. We draw a line between the two angled lines we just created, making sure it's perpendicular, then trim away any unnecessary geometry. Search for the trim tool. There is a 2D and 3D version. The 2D one has dotted lines. If you're in a sketch, pick that one. Cleaning up the sketch like this makes the extrude operation much more reliable. With the sketch finished, we extrude it to 1.5 inches, which matches the width of the profile on my rig. Next, we create a new sketch on the front face. We'll add two construction lines by enabling the construction line option. These show up as dotted lines and are used purely for alignment. Using centered construction lines from midpoints is almost always a good idea when laying out holes. You can tell you're at the midpoint when the triangle constraint shows up. We then draw two circles at 8.2 millimeters in diameter. This allows for an M8 fastener, giving us about 0.2 millimeters of tolerance. Using the dimension tool, we set the distance between the two holes to 1.5 inches, which matches the spacing of the profile slots on my rig. Since these holes are vertical, the spacing could technically be anything, but keeping dimensions consistent like this helps avoid mistakes later if we have parts that need to bridge across parallel extrusion slots. We then use the extrude tool and select the back face to define the depth. You'll notice the operation is set to cut, which removes material instead of adding it. Now the mounting holes are complete. To finish the main shape, we add fillets. First, we select the outer corners of the part and apply a generous 10mm fillet to soften the edges. Next, we round over this sharp edge for the lip. I debated between a 25mm and a 40mm fillet here, and ultimately went with 25mm. It gives a nice change in slope, which should help retain items like headphones or a VR headset. Finally, to strengthen the part, we add triangular braces. We create a new sketch on each side, snap a line to the inside corner, and go 1.5 inches out and 1.5 inches down. We connect those points to form the triangle, then use the extrude tool to extrude a 4mm thick brace. Congratulations, and I hope you followed along without difficulty. Please comment to let me know how to improve these tutorials for you in future. Let me know what you thought, or make a suggestion. I've purposely kept the tools simple and rudimentary for beginners, but we will build on this for future projects.